American insurance companies pay out more than $20 billion a year for water damage inside homes, and almost every dollar of it starts at a pipe joint buried inside a wall. In Japan, a country shaken by earthquakes, strong enough to move whole buildings, we do not put pipe joints inside walls at all, and most of our homeowners will live their entire lives without ever cutting open drywall to chase a leak. So, what do Japanese plumbers know that American plumbers were never taught? Let me tell you about the first American house I ever worked on. It was March of 2009, a two-story house outside Seattle, and there was a brown stain on the dining room ceiling shaped like a hand. The homeowner was a schoolteacher named Karen. She had a bucket on the dining table and a towel wrapped around the light fixture, and she looked at me the way people look at a doctor who already knows the news is bad. She asked me how much of her ceiling I would have to cut. I told her none of it. I told her that in my whole working life, I had never once seen a pipe leak in the middle of a wall, so the water had to be coming from the bathroom above. The tub seal. The toilet ring. Somewhere a human hand could reach. I was wrong. I spent 2 days sealing things that were not broken. Then a local plumber came, cut a hole the size of a pizza box in her ceiling, and found a copper joint that had been weeping for months, 6 feet from where I had been working. The repair itself took him 20 minutes. The drywall, the paint, the ruined oak floor, and the mold company came to $11,000. Karen paid her deductible, her insurance paid the rest, and her rates went up the next year and never came back down. My name is Suda Chan. I spent 38 years as a plumber in Osaka, Japan. My father was a plumber. His father laid some of the first modern water lines in our neighborhood after the war. I came to America in 2009 to help an old friend who builds houses. And in my first month here, I made the mistake I just told you about, because I could not believe what I was seeing inside American walls. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. In 38 years in Osaka, I never once cut open a finished wall to find a leak. Not because I was lucky, because in a modern Japanese home, there is nothing inside the wall that can leak. And before you decide that sounds impossible, I want you to hold one question in your head for the next few minutes. In your house, right now, how many pipe joints are hiding inside your walls, your ceilings, and under your floors? Most homeowners guess 10, maybe 20. The real number for an average American 2-bathroom house is more than 100, and every single one of them is a promise somebody made to you that you have no way to check. Let me show you what that promise costs, and then let me show you how we stopped making it. Here's the thing most folks get wrong, and if you do not understand this, nothing else I say will land. Pipes almost never leak. A straight run of copper will outlast you. A straight run of PEX, the flexible plastic pipe, is rated for 50 years and usually does better. What leaks is joints. Soldered elbows, crimped rings, threaded fittings wrapped in tape by a man who was late for his next job. Pushed-together connectors installed on a Friday afternoon. Every place 2 pieces of pipe meet is a place where water is trying to get out. Every hour, every day, for decades. The American insurance industry knows this better than anyone. About 1 in every 60 insured American homes files a water damage claim every single year. The average claim runs close to $12,000. Water damage and freezing together make up roughly a quarter of all home insurance claims in this country. Not fire, not theft, water. Quiet water, coming from a fitting nobody has seen since the drywall went up. Now look at how an American house is plumbed, and you will see why. It is called trunk and branch. One thick main line runs the length of the house like a tree trunk, and smaller branches tee off it toward each sink, each shower, each toilet. Every tee is a joint. Every change of direction is an elbow, and every elbow is a joint. By the time the house is finished, those 100+ joints are scattered through the walls, packed into ceiling cavities, and in much of the country, buried in concrete under the slab where no living person will ever see them again. It is the cheapest system to install on day one because it uses the least pipe, and it is the most expensive system ever devised for day 4,000, when one of those joints lets go behind the shower wall on a Sunday night. And if you live in Texas, Arizona, Florida, anywhere houses sit on concrete slabs, it gets worse, because down there the joints are under the slab. A slab leak does not drip through a ceiling where you can see it. It soaks the ground under your foundation for months, and the first sign is usually a warm spot on the floor or a water bill that doubled. The fix means jackhammering through your living room floor, and the bill starts around $4,000, and I have seen it past 20. All of that from one fitting, soldered in an afternoon 40 years ago by a man whose name nobody remembers, buried in a place nobody can inspect. In Japan, we build it the other way around. The system is called header koho, and in English you would call it a manifold, or a home run system. Here's the whole idea. In a closet or under the kitchen sink, there is one small box, about the size of a loaf of bread. Blue valves down one side for cold, red valves down the other for hot. And from that one box, a separate flexible pipe runs all the way to each fixture in the house. One pipe to the kitchen sink, one pipe to the shower, one pipe to the washing machine. Each pipe is a single continuous piece from the box to the tap. No T hidden in the wall, no elbow fitting buried in the ceiling. The only joints in the entire house are at the header and at the fixture, and you can touch both of them with your bare hand while standing on the floor. But that is only half of what we do, and honestly, it is the less clever half. The other half is called sayakan, which means sheath pipe, and this is the part I have never once seen in an American house. The water pipe in a Japanese home does not touch the framing. It does not touch the concrete. It runs inside a corrugated plastic sleeve, blue sleeve for cold, pink sleeve for hot, and that sleeve is what gets cast into the slab and threaded through the walls when the house is built. The water pipe slides inside the sleeve the way a bicycle brake cable slides inside its housing. Think about what that means. 30 years from now, when that pipe finally wears out, my son does not bring a saw. He unclips the old pipe at the header, unclips it at the tap, tapes a new pipe to the tail of the old one, and pulls it through the sleeve. 1 hour. 2 joints remade, both in open air. No drywall dust, no ruined floor, no $11,000 week. And here's the truth underneath all of it. The part I want you to sit with. Japanese homes do not stay dry because our pipes are better. They stay dry because we assume every pipe will fail, and we build the house so that failure is a chore instead of a catastrophe. American walls hide their joints because American plumbing pretends joints last forever. We stopped pretending. The earthquake made us stop. When Kobe shook in 1995, rigid pipes snapped at their joints all across the city. And when we rebuilt, flexible sleeved lines running home to a header became the way it is done. We designed for the failure, and the strange result is that failure almost never finds us. So now let me give you the system the way I would give it to my own neighbor, piece by piece, whether you are building, remodeling, or just protecting the house you already have. The first piece is the header. If you are building new or opening up walls for a remodel, tell your plumber you want a home run manifold system, and do not let him talk you out of it. In America, the best-known unit is the Viega Manablock, and it runs about $250. The PEX pipe itself costs 50 to 80 cents a foot. Yes, a home run layout uses roughly twice as much pipe as trunk and branch because every fixture gets its own line. But your hidden fitting count drops from more than 100 to 0, and the extra pipe on a whole house is a few $100s. One good ceiling repair costs 20 times that. Now here's the trick, and it costs you a marker and a roll of tape. The day the manifold goes in, label every port. Kitchen cold, boys' bathroom hot, washing machine. Because every port on that header has its own little quarter-turn valve, and that means the night a toilet line finally drips, you walk to the box, turn one valve, and go back to bed with water still running everywhere else in the house. No crawling under the house for the main, no family with no water for 3 days while you wait for a plumber. One valve. One fixture. Done. The second piece is the sleeve. If any pipe on your project is going under a slab or into a closed wall, run it inside a conduit. Corrugated sleeve costs about $1 a foot, and the rule is simple. The pipe must run continuous inside it, no joint anywhere along the buried length, and the sleeve should be one size bigger than the pipe needs. That oversize is the trick. A snug sleeve looks tidy on installation day, and then grips the pipe like a fist when you try to pull a replacement through in 20 years. One size up, and the new pipe slides through in minutes. Your plumber will tell you nobody does this. That is true. That is the problem. The third piece is the wet room. In Japan, most bathrooms are not built. They are installed. A factory molds the entire room, floor, walls, tub as one waterproof piece. Companies like Toto and Lixil make them, and the whole room is set into the house like a boat into water. There is a drain in the middle of the bathroom floor itself. The room is a tub. You can throw a bucket of water at the wall, and the house does not care. You probably cannot buy a Japanese unit bath for your house, but you can steal the thinking. Choose a one-piece shower unit over tiled walls where you can. And if you do tile, demand the flood test. Before one tile goes down, the finished shower pan gets plugged and filled with an inch of water, marked with a pencil, and left for 24 hours. If the line drops, the pan leaks, and you just found out for free instead of finding out through your ceiling. Any tile setter who groans at this test is telling you something about his pans. The fourth piece is for the house you already own, and it costs nothing. I call it the 10-minute meter test, and I want you to do it tonight. Turn off every tap, every ice maker, every sprinkler. Go to your water meter and find the smallest dial, usually a little red triangle or a star. That is the leak detector, and it spins with flows too small to hear. Watch it for 10 full minutes. If it does not move, your house is tight. If it creeps, water is escaping somewhere right now, and the most common somewhere is the toilet flapper, which costs $8, and the worst somewhere is under your slab. Either way, you now know, and knowing early is the entire game. Then spend a little money where it counts. Water alarms are $12 to $15 each, small pucks that scream when they get wet. One under each sink, one behind each toilet, and one in the drip pan under the water heater, because water heaters fail at the bottom seam around year 10, and they always fail quietly first, a slow sweat for weeks before the tank finally lets go and puts 40 gallons on your floor in an afternoon. While you are down there, look at the date on the heater's sticker. If it is past 10 years old, start planning its replacement on your schedule instead of the tanks. And one more thing for the folks in cold country. The single worst night for American pipes is the first hard freeze, because a trunk line running through an outside wall freezes, splits at a joint, and thaws at noon the next day into a wall full of water. In Japan, we run lines through interior walls and inside sleeves, and the sleeve itself is one more layer between your pipe and the cold. If you have any pipe in an outside wall, foam sleeves cost $3 a stick at the hardware store, and one cold Saturday afternoon of fitting them is the cheapest insurance sold in this country. If you want the full modern version, an automatic shutoff valve like the Moen Flow watches your pipes all day and closes the main by itself when something bursts. Around $500, and many insurance companies will discount your premium for having one, which tells you exactly how much they trust the pipes in your walls. Step back with me now, because this is bigger than plumbing. Water is this generation's house fire. It ruins more American homes every year than flame does. It feeds the mold that feeds your children's asthma. It quietly rots the wood your house stands on, and it does all of it from inside a wall while you sleep. Ask anyone who has tried to sell a house with a water history on the disclosure. Buyers forgive an old roof. They do not forgive mold. One hidden joint can take 5 figures off the price of the biggest thing you own, years after the stain was painted over. And I want you to notice something about why nothing changes. The plumber gets paid the day the joints go into the wall. The restoration company gets paid the day one lets go. The insurance company raises your rate and moves on. Every business in that chain does fine. Not one of them earns a single dollar from a pipe you can pull out with your own hands in an hour. In Japan, our enemy was the earthquake, and you cannot send an earthquake a bill, so we had no choice but to actually solve the problem. We built our homes around one humble idea, and my grandfather said it to me in his workshop when I was 14, and I have never heard anything in this trade truer than this. A pipe you cannot reach is a promise you cannot keep. That is the whole video in one sentence. Every joint your builder buried was a promise. The Japanese system just refuses to make promises. It cannot check. So here is what I want you to do tonight, before you forget. Find your main shutoff valve and turn it all the way closed and open again, because a valve that has not moved in 10 years is a valve that will not move the night you need it. Then run the 10-minute meter test. Then go to the comments and tell me one word, still or moving, and tell me what state you live in. Because I am building a picture of where this country leaks, and I read every single comment. If your dial moved, Tell me, and I will point you where to look first. And come back next time, because I'm going to show you the small white fitting that sits inside every Japanese kitchen sink drain, a $9 piece you can install with your bare hands in 10 minutes, no wrench, that makes a clogged drain almost impossible and lets you clean the trap without ever crawling under the sink. American hardware stores do not even stock it, and once you see how it works, you will not believe your sink was ever built without one. Until then, keep your water where you can see it, keep your valves where you can reach them, and remember that the strongest house is not the one that never fails. It is the one that was built by people honest enough to plan for the day it does.